Hello, Stacy. Today I'll be asking you some questions about your major and career path. Before we start, I need to go over some confidentiality guidelines with you. This is going to be a recorded interview, and the only two people who will be viewing this will be my professor and my peer reviewer. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, great. So I'm going to start off by asking you about why you decided to come to WKU, like what sparked your interest here, and everything.
Okay. So, I actually transferred here in the spring of 2018 and I
Oh,
graduated high school in 2016.
okay.
So, I went to NYU first for a semester.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
It is very expensive. They don't
Mhm.
give a lot of scholarship money, and I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do.
Okay.
So, I took a year off after one semester and decided, if I'm not exactly sure where I'm gonna go, I should probably just save money, go to Western, and I thought that I wanted to be a journalist. So that's the reason why I came to Western specifically,
Oh,
because it is the
wow.
best program in the state.
Yeah, that's what I heard. So tell me a little bit about your major now. Like, what got you interested in that, and like, what do you kind of want to do with it?
Okay, so the first time I remember thinking about wanting to be a journalist was when I
Mm,
was in fourth grade, and I always liked writing, but I watched the movie Little Black Book with my mom. So
okay.
it's got Brittany Murphy in it, and she's a journalist,
I
like a
love her.
broadcast
Yeah.
journalist, yeah. And her name is Stacy in the movie, and
Mm,
I just saw it, and I was like, I want to do that.
yeah,
Like
that's some good
that's
inspiration.
exactly what I want to do. Yeah. And then I always really liked telling stories.
Hmm.
I talk a lot, so I was always like in drama club in high school, which like in a way is telling a story. Like being in a play
Yeah, of
or like
course.
writing journals, writing blogs,
Hmm.
just wanting to do something, telling stories.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. So, can it ever be super stressful, like just the workload in your major, or like how much do you usually spend doing homework a week, do you think?
Um, It varies for sure on when my assignments are due because with the classes, I'm having to take some photojournalism, so it can take a while to go out, wait, and get like the perfect picture for
Yeah.
the specific assignment. But whenever I'm supposed to be writing a story, it's more like having to schedule in advance, like I need to do as much pre-reporting as possible,
Yeah.
and I need to schedule the interviews, and then once I get those, going through and listening over and over again, and then like writing down the specific quote that I want to use. So it can be pretty time consuming,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I enjoy most of the work that I do for class, so it's not that bad.
For sure, that's good. So when you do get super overwhelmed, what do you typically do? Do you use like the library on campus, or do you do any meditation or any yoga?
So the first thing that I do whenever I get like super overwhelmed is I'll just turn off all the lights in my bathroom and take a bath.
Okay.
And I'm like not allowed to bring my phone in. I'm not allowed to like watch TV, like no distractions at all. It's just like maybe light a candle, sit there alone with my thoughts, try not to think about anything that I'm supposed to be
Yeah.
doing, like what interview do I schedule next and all of that.
Mhm.
But I do sometimes yoga and meditation as well. But sometimes I get really busy. I don't make enough time to
Yeah.
meditate. So
Yeah, no, trust me, I'm the same way, but baths help me as well, so I know what you mean there. Like it can be really great way to cope after being having a stressful day. Um, so you said you were from a small town, right?
yes.
So is there anywhere you wanted to move to specifically after you graduate?
Okay. So with journalism being a pretty competitive field, it's like I don't feel like I have as much control over where I go, which I kind of like because it's I don't really think that I need a 5 year plan.
Kind of like a surprise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so for a lot of people that's terrifying, but for me, like stability is not something that I crave to be happy.
Hmm.
So really, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to apply to every PR, marketing, reporting, like whether it's TV, radio, magazines, like
Yeah.
newspapers, and I'm just going to see who will give me the best offer as far as like the combination of location, pay, opportunity for growth, and what the actual job itself entails is.
Okay.
So it's kind of a wild card, but I think that I'd like to end up somewhere no smaller than Bowling Green,
Yeah.
for sure. But I wouldn't mind being in a town relatively the same
In a
size.
town, yeah. No, I know what you mean. Um, so you said that in photojournalism, like you do kind of do have to do a lot of traveling, and you just said it's like a wild card. Is there any like city specifically in the world that you would like to travel to or visit?
Okay, so I did a brief like winter term study abroad in Florence,
Oh
and
wow.
there they have a newspaper called the Florentine, and in it, it's like it's in English because there are a lot of like expat English speakers in
Yeah.
Florence, and they require everyone that works for it to be bilingual in Italian and English. And I don't speak
Wow.
Italian, but I would like to learn.
Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful language. So that would be a publication that sometime in my life I think it would be cool to work for. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm interested in like fashion, beauty writing, lifestyle, travel, food,
Yeah, and that
arts,
would be
culture.
perfect.
Yeah, and I'm also interested in music, so it's like I could be happy working for Rolling Stone. I can be happy working for Vogue. Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of
There's so many options.
yeah, exactly. There are so many options.
Yeah. So you said that you would like to travel a lot. How does your family feel about your overall career path and what you want to do?
Okay, so my mom immigrated here from the Philippines
Okay.
and married my dad, and her whole thing was she left college after like 2 years. Her dad didn't want her to go, so she snuck off to college, got a full ride scholarship,
That's awesome.
and did not tell her family where she was going. And he ended up finding her, so she never got to finish out her civil engineering degree. And I think that with like how many classes she was taking at a time, she would have had the equivalent of like one semester here left.
Yeah.
So after she moved here, she tried to finish her degree out, but none of the credits would transfer from the university she went to in the Philippines. So one of her things
Jeez,
was
yeah.
always like,
Mom and how she immigrated from the Philippines.
yes,
And she wanted you to focus on like either medical school or law school.
Yeah.
So what happened with that?
okay. So my mom went to college in the Philippines before she moved here for like the equivalent of what would have been 7 semesters here.
Mm-hmm.
And she wasn't able to finish her degree out. She tried when she moved here and she wasn't able to because the credits wouldn't transfer.
Yeah.
So her big thing was always, I want you to finish college. And I think it's really common with immigrant parents to want better for your children than what they had growing up, especially since where my mom is from in the Philippines is kind of like not the nicest area. Like
Of
right now,
course,
there's
yeah.
kind of a religious civil war going on
Mm-hmm.
on the island that she's from, and it's pretty like poverty stricken and things like that. So she
Yeah.
wanted me to try to be a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer because those are really stable jobs
Yeah.
that typically have like 6-figure incomes. And
Mhm.
she was like, "You are smart enough to do this. I know that you can." So she tried to get me, especially to be a doctor. And I took an introduction to health science class when I was in high school,
Mm-hmm.
passed it with a 98%, and absolutely hated it.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
I was like, I can't do this, Mom. And I said, listen, you told me that you wanted me to do these things because you know that I'm smart enough to. But if you know that I'm smart enough to be able to do that, you should know that I'm smart enough to get a job doing what I actually want to do. So
Yeah.
I'm going to be okay. And ever since then, she's been really supportive of my career path.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. Usually parents just want what's best for us, but it can be kind of tough when they don't listen. But it's good that your mom is so supportive of you and what you want to do. It's nice to have that support.
Yeah, she shares like my articles on Facebook. I write for the magazine
Oh,
on
that's
campus.
awesome.
So you know, she'll pull a quote and just put it out there with my blog
Yeah.
posts too.
That's so cute. I love when parents share like all
Yeah.
your charms and stuff like that. But is your field right now? Is it very competitive?
Yeah, it is. I have a friend that graduated from UNC in May of last year, and UNC is a fantastic journalism school.
Yeah.
She interned at Politico in Washington, D.C., and is literally one of the most driven people I know that wants to go in political journalism, and she has had the hardest time finding a job.
Oh yeah.
She's worked on, she worked on the Biden campaign in rural North Carolina, which was really interesting to hear about.
Yeah, that must have been a little tough.
She said it was.
Yeah.
But she was really successful doing that, and even still, she's having kind of a hard time finding jobs.
Mhm.
So in politics especially, it's competitive, but I have been told by people that I have a distinctive voice to my writing, so I'm hoping that someone will just see the value in that and decide to give me a job.
Yeah.
I'll be able to work. I know that I will, but it's just kind of a thing where you have to build your way
up
the
there.
career that you really want to have.
Yeah, and especially right now with the pandemic and everything, it's kind of tough just for people to find jobs literally anywhere.
Yes.
But have there ever been any like conflicts with you and other students or any teachers in the program?
I missed I had a rotational class my first semester after declaring my major in journalism, and in one of the rotations of the class, the professor that's my academic advisor now, I was teaching the writing portion of it, and I missed the first class of that rotation of the class. It was like the third rotation, I think, and he was really hard on me about something, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I cannot stand this guy. And I knew that he was going to be my advisor later, but I literally have him for 2 classes this semester, and he's like my favorite now.
Oh yeah.
So I did initially, I guess, have a problem, but not anymore. No,
yeah. Sometimes first impressions can be a little deceiving.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's even happened to me.
Yeah.
But yeah. So you said that it can be pretty competitive, especially just with the job market right now. Is there anything else you'd like to touch on for the interview? Like anything we didn't really pick up on?
I guess with like my long-term goals.
Yeah.
I know that I said that I don't have a 5-year plan. I also don't really have like a 10 or 15-year plan. It's pretty consistent. But one of the classes that I'm in with that professor is press law. So I have discovered this semester that I really enjoy studying law. So in the back of my mind, like I said, I don't know what it is with me in these like 2000s movies. Legally Blonde changed my life.
Yes.
So ever since I saw it, I was like, I would love to go to law school, Not even,
So that inspired you to take your class?
Well, I have to take that class for my major.
Okay.
But I just loved the case studies in the class, all of the things that we were doing. So I would go home and like look further into them and things like that.
Yeah.
So I think that eventually I might want to go to law school, but also I have a feeling that later on in my career I'm going to feel like I want more out of life and decide that I want to teach, so I can see myself being a professional in residence at a university, kind of like close to the time when I'm about to retire or post-retirement. Just something to do. I don't think that I'm ever going to be able to just retire and not do anything at all. I don't think that, just because I said that I like storytelling so much, I don't think that I'm ever going to be able to just like stop working entirely. So I could see myself taking on a couple of classes or maybe like being the advisor for a student publication or freelancing until literally the day that I die.
Yeah, no, that sounds like the dream. It's good to have so many different options and aspirations. Like, you're keeping all the doors open, and that's just a good thing to have. And you seem really passionate about what you want to do, so that's really good as well.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like we are running out of time today for our meeting, so thank you, Stacey, for doing this interview today. And I'll see you next time.